Hello everyone out there in YouTube land. This video I'm making, I swear on all that I truly believe in to be true and honest. Now there's gonna be some of you out there that are gonna say, well, you were young, you were dumb, you just got lost and spooked, and well, God watches out for children and dumbasses. But I understand that, and if that's how you feel, well, more power to you. I can't change how you feel any more than I can change what happened to me on these occasions. The first occasion, I was 12, almost 13. And I had decided that my home life wasn't good enough for me. So I ran off to a friend's house. I got on his bus, I had a forged note, the whole schmeal. Well, while I was camping out, because his daddy didn't know nothing about it, so I couldn't go to the house. I had to camp out in the woods a little bit. He'd given me a pump action M16 BB gun that he had as protection from, whatever critter, whatever. Plus I could shoot a squirrel and cook them and eat them if I wanted. I was into that type of thing. I was into hunting. I still am. And while I was laying there in the tent that, again, he gave me to use, I was listening to the sounds of the woods and everything, and all of a sudden, I just got a dread like you wouldn't believe feeling that popped over me. Like I was being watched. Like if I didn't get out of there right then and get my ass home, and not to my friend's house either, which was about 100 yards up from where I was, maybe 50. It might have seemed longer when you were a kid. And something really, really bad was going to happen to me. I swear to God today I believe that. Me being a kid, alpha type, fuck it, I'll deal with it. I got a BB gun, pellet gun here, I got it covered. I pumped it up to about 40 pumps, which is about a 22. I hope most critters and let them know you ain't playing around. And I slapped in a pointed pellet. Now, if anyone who's shot a pellet, y'all know the pointed ones are gonna hurt a little more. And I waited. Turned on the little Coleman lantern I had, and I waited. And that feeling didn't leave me, like being watched. And I was watched by something that didn't want me there. It wanted to do me harm if I didn't get out of there. Well, after a little bit of this, what I reckon to be about an hour, but was probably only 30 minutes, it got so bad I couldn't take it anymore. And I left that BB gun, still loaded, still off safe, which I've never left the gun off safe except for that time in my life. I climbed out of the tent, I had on my shoes, just everyday running tennis shoes, and I started running through the woods. And brother, when I say running, I mean I was moving. And the whole time that feeling stayed with me. A little ways up the road, they came to another house. There was a bicycle there. And I took it. And I took it right through the woods. It was a BMX style bike. I figured it could take the roughness. And I took off like a shot on that sucker. Right through the woods. I mean, I'm dodging trees. I'm pedaling as fast as my legs would go. And as soon as I had happened, as soon as I was on the bike and I was making good time, all of a sudden I heard the noise behind me like the gates of hell was being ripped off their hinges and the devil himself was coming after me. Like all kids do, like all people do when you know everyone's asleep. It is around 2 in the morning. I look back over my shoulder. And there was a moon out. Not much of light coming in through the trees of the wooded area I was in. But brother, I wish I'd never looked back. To this day, that image is still burned in my brain. It was this half goat, half man type creature. And it was coming at me and its eyes were glowing red. Well, when I looked back, I didn't see it. I hit a stump. And I went ass over tea kettle. It was a stump or something I hit. Maybe just a big root. Anyway, I went ass over tea kettle over the handlebars. Thankfully, I landed in leaves. I got up, I was a little scratched up, but I got up, grabbed that bike, and started pedaling. And while I'm pedaling, I came across a clearing, came into a clearing. That I didn't know it at the time that I was entering it. I found out about 2 seconds after I entered that clearing that someone had been killed in that clearing, a young lady. But that creature was definitely closer to me. Close enough where I could smell this god-awful, sickly sweet smell. The only thing I can liken it to is if someone had been living off catfish or, a bunch of fish and it was seeping through the pores on a really hot, humid day, and they had eaten, the catfish had been laying out rotten, that type of sickly sweet decay odor hit my nose after I hit the ground. Well, when I seen that body, I ditched the bike. I hopped off the bike real quick and ran over to her. I didn't know if she was dead. I thought maybe she was just injured or something. That she'd been walking and something had happened and she had fallen and she was hurt. So I turned her over. She was on her stomach. I turned her over. You know, I shook her, nothing happened. I turned her over and went to slap her face. And that's when I seen that her throat had been cut. But not by a knife. If this makes any sense. There were 3 perfectly wide gouges. The gouges went from about here deep. They severed all 3 parts of the carotid artery, went around, severed her windpipe and her vocal cords. Came on over to here where it again severed both, all 3 spots of the jugular that you could feel, and stopped about, a 1/16 of an inch past the jugular. And her eyes were beautiful, beautiful eyes. Gorgeous shade of blue. Beautiful shade of sky blue eyes. I'll never forget them. They were gorgeous. She was a gorgeous woman when she'd been alive. And when I saw this, I stepped back. And when I saw this, I heard this ungodly, high, almost like a pig squeal mixed with a fucking goat batting and fucking roar sound that I've never heard then, and I still have never heard since. It made my blood run cold. And I'm not saying that to be figurative. It literally felt like my blood had thickened to like a syrupy thing. It was hard for me to get going. Hard for me to feel what I was doing. I don't know if I was like in a dream state or something. I don't know, but it was hard. But I remember getting on that bike and just taking off. And I knew the direction I was headed, that there was a road, a highway. Not a major highway, but, a highway. And I came upon it, and there was a little bit of an incline. And I pulled up on the front of that bike, and I hit that road. Well, I actually hit the shoulder of that road, close to it. Almost hit the guardrails, to be honest. And I didn't stop. If anything, my legs seemed to get stronger from the adrenaline, I guess. But I pumped like I'd never pumped before on any bike, and I've never rode that fast since. I got up to a couple of where I turned off this area where it went up under a couple of underpasses. And I ditched the bike on an underpass up it a little ways. About 3/4 of the way up the incline under the underpass. I laid the bike down. Because I knew I didn't have a bike at home and I didn't want all of a sudden there to be a bike there. And I took off running. And I ran home. From where I left that bike to my house at the time, well, not a house, an apartment. We lived in Bell Oaks Apartments at the time. And when I left that bike to there was about a half mile. Still is about a half mile. I made that in no time flat. I got home, it was 3:30, 4:30, something like that in the morning. We lived on the ground floor apartment. I jumped in through my open bedroom window. And I closed it. I'd never closed the window in my life until then. I closed the screen, I closed the window, and I pulled the curtains too. And I didn't sleep on my bed. I slept under my bed. Because I thought that creature would come and find me and kill me. I've never been that scared in all my life. That happened in Belton, Texas. About a month later, maybe a little less, I was in the woods surrounding Bell Oaks Apartments during the daytime. I wouldn't go in them at night after that, but I went in during the day. And I got turned around. I wasn't walking in any general direction. I was just walking. It was a beautiful summer day out. And I got lost. I decided, alright, it's, enough time went by, I need to go home. And again, I saw a half goat, half man. Well, this one looked a little different. The one I'd seen before had more of the ram horns on it. The ones that come up and circle like this on it, And the woods had been silent that night. I'll never forget it. They had been the usual night activity, then they'd just gotten silent. I mean, dead silent. Well, it's daytime, I'm in the woods, and I'm hearing all the usual activity. Chipmunks scurrying, and squirrels, and birds, and rabbits, and all this. And before I seen the creature, I came upon this area with weird markings. On a tree, you could barely make it out on the trees, but stones were laid out in these weird patterns, and it felt really old, like that part of the woods was ancient. And I guess that's what made me decide to get home. And that's when I turned around, and I swear to God, I couldn't see the way home. I had no idea how to get home. And I said, oh no, I might be stuck out in the woods again. This time, I don't have anything I would need. And I said, well, first time I ever prayed, I said, well, whatever's out there. And I said, you know, my grandmother, full-blooded Native American, so she always mentioned Yahweh, the Great Spirit, you know. And I said, well, if you're out there, Great Spirit, I need help getting home. And about that time, I heard leaves rustle and some twigs snap. And that's when I saw that critter, that creature. And he looked at me, and I looked at him. And he seemed to be as surprised to see me as I was to see him. But he didn't look like the other one. And I didn't feel fear or dread or anything coming off of him. But I did say out loud, I do remember saying out loud, can you help me get home? And it looked at me and gestured for me to follow it. I did. I won't lie, I followed it. And sure enough, it led me back to an area of woods where I recognized and could get home from. I haven't seen that creature since.